today we are going to work on our second type of activity. So what we've already established is being able to add the emails and kind of see that show up in a feed of information. So the next thing we're going to want to be doing is adding just a simple note. So a few things kind of to be thinking about this. So when we add this activity type, we're going to be just be able to put in kind of plain text. It might be worth considering putting some rich formatted text, but for the time being, I think it's just going to be a blob of plain text. So that's the primary task. Well, it might, and maybe a thing to consider is maybe making this something that's maybe marked down or something like that. But for right now, just gonna kind of keep it simple. One of the things we're gonna need to tackle is being able to sort the things. So right now, it's just gonna be whatever's created last. But say you add a few notes, and then you attach your email account and import stuff, then you're going to have old emails showing up as newly created. So we're going to have I'm thinking something like a sort date. So when you create a note, then that will show up on that date. But when you import stuff, it's going to look at your emails, for example, and the day that it was sent is what we're going to want to use there. So we're going to have to be able to kind of override that. So that's kind of what the plan is to tackle today. We'll see how we get through things. All right. So let's start out by creating a feature for this. So we're going to want to do Rails G our spec feature, and so I jump between different projects. Some of them are things that I've made. Some of them are things that were started by others. So sometimes the naming of things can be different. So okay. So what we want to do is probably call this something like people can have notes. And if I spell my words, that will help. Okay, so again, I'm going to come into here and I'm going to grab the first bit, and that's something I probably should kind of pre-set up a little bit, but that's fine. So we're going to user, we're going to person, perfect. So we're going to select that, then we're going to, okay, so we've gone into the account, and we want to click on people, and this is probably going to go plain because it's going to want me to do the first. That's fine. So click on people, and then I'm going to go click on person dot full name, if I remember correctly, and then in here I want to click on add note, and when I click on add note, it's gonna redirect to a new page. I'm going to then go fill in note with this is my note. Click on create note, and this is going to redirect back to the person's page, and I'm going to say expect page dot to have content. This is my note. Yeah, that looks reasonable for starting off. So let's run this and see what happens. And yep, it's complaining about multiple. So we're going to say match first. Unable to find add note. Perfect. So if we go to the people show in here we've got the activities, and we're going to probably put this right up at the top for now. So this is going to be link to add note. This is going to be the new person note path. Is that what I wanted to do? No, I'm going to say new note path. New note path. And in here, because this is going to be so yeah, the email addresses is one I did that with. So on the new email, we did contactable, contact to SGID. We're going to do the same concept here. So in here, new note path, and this is going to be going to, so what do we want to call this? Naming is a fun thing. So let's say the record is person dot to SGID. That's what we'll do for now. We'll see where we get to. All right. And this should be complaining about the new note path. Yup. So we'll hop over to the routes, and in here, resources, notes. Notes controller doesn't exist. Of course it doesn't exist. It's going to complain about the template. Beautiful. It's nice when things blow up the way that you expect. All right, so notes, and we're going to create new.html.erb, and we're going to just jump right ahead and make form.html.erb, and in here we're going to render, well, make sure it yells at us. Good, we didn't do anything stupid. So we're going to do render form, and that's going to be with the note at note. And it's still yelling at us. Yep. So we're going to do form with model note. And it's complaining about the field note, right? So we're going to do form.label of note, and in here we'll do form.text area note. And now it's going to submit about the button, yell about the text. Thank you, autocorrect. And this is going to be form.submit, and this is going to still complain about the create note, right? And that's because it doesn't have the, as we've seen in every other one, it's because that when you pass in that nil model, it's going to not work properly. So note equals note.new, and in here we want the note dot record equal to, how do we set that up for the email addresses? So on new we did nothing. We did before set contactable. So yeah, let's do the same thing here. Before action set record, and we will pass that in like so. Set record global unsigned params record. Okay, so that's going to get the record. And for the email address, email addresses, no, why is that not? Why do, new, boop. So hidden field contact is the contact with that, that's JID, okay. Well, we can do this for now. This is going to yell at us. We know that we still need that, right? Well, we can leave that out. It'll yell at us at the right time when we need to handle it. It's going to note.new. Yep. Okay. So here we're going to do Rails G model note. Okay. So the note doesn't actually need a record. That's not needed. So that's going to be added to the activity that's associated with it. So the note just has to have, actually let's call it content. So Rails G model content, and that's gonna be text. Do we need anything else with this? It would probably be good to put an author at the activity level. So that's something we probably might want to think about doing. So I think this is good for now. All right, so content, this has to be not be null. And then that looks good. Otherwise, our model note. So this is gonna, well, this will yell at us. Our note spec, let's get this out of here. And our factory bot, cool. So actually I should turn this into a sequence. That just helps you distinguish things. So let's do my note number n, which means I probably should put the n on here. All right, and let's Rails DB migrate this. All right, that's good. And good. So in our notes controller, new, so now we have a def create, and our note is note.new, note params, which is massively overkill in this case, note.save, and redirect to record dot redirect back to record. No params, yep. Require note and permit content. So this still is basically just normal Rails CRUD. Can't redirect to nil, and that's because we are not keeping this params record in here. So if we go back to form, just like we did in the new here. So this here is using a hidden tag field, which is exactly what we want to be using as well. So we are not doing a form.hidden field. If we did this, this would give us something that has a note, the name on it of note record. So the reason that we don't want to do note record is this is actually going to be kind of kept outside of it. So we'll get back to that there. So, and actually we probably want to do this and here we want to do record at record. I like keeping my partials to only use locals. It kind of makes explicit about what you're passing around. It also means that our edit thing will have to do something in here to not let you change your record, because you shouldn't be reassigning it to a different record most likely. So we'll leave that for now. Okay. Okay. So if we run this, expect to find this as my note. We did not find this as my note, and that's because we didn't make an activity for it. So in here, what we can do is, and we're going to want to clean this up. Activity equals activity.new. Activity dot source equals note. Activity dot save, and then do activity dot activity record. Is that what it is? I'm now questioning myself. Yeah, activity record. So we're making a new activity records, and this will be activity record dot. So we can just actually do dot create. So that's going to have the one side of the solution set up, and then we're also going to do, so what does the activity record have? The record is record. So this is a ton of boilerplate, which I don't really like, but it's explicit for right now. So that should be okay now. Oop. All right. Missing partial notes. Note. Ah, perfect. This is because it's automatically figuring out what the it's trying to render that that activity. So that's kind of the automatic behavior. So if we go in here and do note.html.erb, that should now stop complaining about that note, but now it's going to get back to this the missing data. And actually, if we go to the emails, we can just grab that, and what we actually want to do in here is we want to probably do note.content. And if we render this or run the test, then that passes, which means we should be good here. So let's actually look and see what this looks like in the actual browser. So if I go to host and I sign in. And if I go to people, Joe Blow, and I go add note, this is my note, and create that note, then I can see this is my note down here. Ooh, at the bottom. So that's not where we want it to be. We want that to be at the top because it's the latest thing. So let's save what we have so far. So note spec, yeah, nothing's going on there. Features, yeah, that's fine. Notes, that's fine. Schema, that's fine. Create node, that's fine. Routes, that's fine. Add note, that's fine. Views, render it. Spit the content. Let's clear that out. And then that's fine. That's fine. This is missing some stuff, which we're going to probably get into, but that's fine for now. This is just some placeholder, and the notes controller, that's fine. Cool. All right, so we have our notes. They are in the wrong order, so we can actually just come into something like so with that, so if we did that, we can go into, say, let's just throw it in somewhere, just get things going. So if we want to look at this, we want to look at the people show. So for the activities, we're going to do activities dot order. Let's do sort date, and we're going to do that descending. And if we rerun our specs, this is going to say sort date doesn't exist, which it doesn't. So let's Rails G migration, add sort date to activities. Sort date is a date time, and it's going to pop that up. Okay, so date time is there. We are going to go in here. We want this to be default null, which default false. Sorry, null false. Which if we run this, this is going to yell at us. Yep. I think I can do that. I don't know. We'll see. Yep. Yeah, let me look that up. So this is going to be Rails migration date time default now. Okay. So add that column default to now, but I actually don't want that default. So all right, change default column activities sort date and null. And to make it reversible, we can do from date time.now to yeah, that should work. Let's see. Yeah. Cool. Let's just make sure that looks the way we want. So if I go to the activities, I've got, cool, those start dates now. All right, but those aren't actually being set when we create the things. So if I now rerun my tests, this should blow up again because it's saying that it's missing that sort date. Yep, that sort date fails. Perfect. So if I go back over to the, if I go back to the notes controller, so activity.save. So we also want to do activity.sort date is time.current. The reason you time.current instead of time.now is because of time zone stuff, so I actually should change that in here. But it's transient. It's not, yeah, that's not going to be a problem. Okay, so if we do that, that now passes. So the other thing is that if I now load up the test for the email importer, email activity spec, if I run these, this should blow up in my face. Yay, it does, just like I was hoping. So if I come in here and I go email importer, so that's happening because email activity.new is not grabbing stuff. So in here, in the email activity, activity equals activity create source email, and we want this to be sort date is going to be email.sort, email.sent at, which we run, it's going to yell at us. Yep, sent at doesn't exist. So for our email importer, we're going to need to add that. So email.sent at equals, I think this is on the envelope. Right. So it's going to be Rails. Rails G migration add sent at to emails. Email sent at date time null false. And this is basically going to be the exact same concept as what we did here. So null false, datetime.current, change column, emails sent at from datetime.current to nil. And yeah, I might as well change this. Okay. And just to test things, we're going to roll back that one. Rails DB migrate. Cool. So that's good. So if I back over to our database, if I go to the emails, we've got that with the sent at is wrong, so we can delete that. And then if I go to the activities, those two email activities should be removed, and there's still those records. Yay, referential integrity. So we can delete those two, and now we can delete those two activities. Okay, so that's all set. And what I'm actually going to do is, I don't want to save it here. I'm going to just do a puts email.inspect. Actually, I'm going to do this up here. Boom. I want to do a puts envelope dot inspect, and then I'm just going to crash it out. We could also do some debugging and stuff. So this is probably a really lazy way to go about it, but it's quick and dirty and easy. So let's Rails see this, and I do email importer dot new email account dot first dot import. All right, so if we look at the envelope, it gives us the date, which is January 25th, which I believe is the send date. Cool. So sent at envelope dot date. Is there anything else of that? Yeah, that looks good. Because I think that is what it was. Let me pull that up over here, and let's look at the test folder. Oh, I'm looking in the wrong folder. I was very confused for a second there. So in the test folder, that was sent at 11 a.m. January 20th at 11 a.m. negative 500. Perfect. So let's get into the time zone even. Amazing. And then one of my other jobs, I run into a lot of stuff with that. You know what, while we're here, let's get that reply to as well. So we've got the add sent to chain add column emails, reply to, and that's going to be string, and this can be false, or like this can be nil rather. I think, yeah, we'll see. So we'll migrate that, and I still have nothing in here, so I can Rails cn again, and if I import this envelope, envelope, and reload everything. All right, so that looks good. So now if I go to the activities and refresh this, I'm getting, these are at the 25th at 1600 UTC. So if I pull this up, 16 UTC to EST, is going to give me 11 a.m. Perfect. All right. Yeah, 5 hours, right? Okay. So I can now use that. Perfect. Now change the order. Good, good, good. What I'm also going to do, just so we can confirm this visually, is I'm going to go into the notes, and in the note, and in here I'm going to do div, and I'm just going to spit out note dot note dot activity dot sort date And because the node actually doesn't have that, so we can do created at. And I can go into emails, email, and on here we can do email dot sent at, and this is going to spew out a terrible set of strings. Yeah, nice. So that that's kind of gross. So that's something that we can look at improving as we move forward. But we can see that this is going then and then. So if I then go into, yeah, so that's you know, that's showing everything is working. All right. So let's just do a bundle exec rspec. See if I messed anything up that I need to fix up. All right, so I've done something with the email activity spec. Yep, so our factory for emails needs a sent at, and that's going to be date dot current, or time dot current rather. All right. So that means everything's working great. Let's commit this. So factories, DB schema. So with this, we're because I'm just kind of scaffolding things in, and things go pretty quick, generally speaking. I don't necessarily do, I'm not really doing anything incredibly complicated. So most of the stuff should be pretty straightforward about what I'm doing. So that's why I'm not really putting too much detail into commit messages and such. This is something you would want to be doing a lot better if you're working on a team or whatnot. This is also a place where you can review, like, if this is kind of ugly. I don't like how this looks. I'm probably going to have some type of like activityable concern that will help us be able to build these out a lot more easily without kind of having this boilerplate and maybe even defining sort date. That way the activity can just pull the sort date in. So, there's a few things like that to look at doing. So with this, this is going to let us sort activities. All right. So now we have two activities. We can, and we can kind of build out those. So what I'm probably looking at doing next is actually starting to pull in some turbo frame stuff and hotwire. What that's going to let me do is really easily and really nicely build out some of the kind of single page application type concepts. So with that, I'll probably do it in 2 steps. So for example, with that add note, we will basically enhance it. It means that if you have JavaScript turned off, it will continue working exactly as it does here. But if you have JavaScript turned on, then it will do kind of all in line on the same page. So that's the kind of the next step and where we're going to be headed. So that'll be for next time. Take care.